Shalom uvracha, and welcome to each and every one of you, wherever you are in the world. My name's Lionel Rosenfeld, and I'm the rabbi of the Western Marble Arch Synagogue here in central London. I've come down from our apartment in the synagogue building to the Bet HaMidrash. I'm on my own. We're all in self-isolation. It's soulful, it's peaceful. And I've come to speak to you not as the rabbi of the synagogue. Today I'm wearing my Shabbaton Choir tie. I come to say welcome on behalf of the magnificent Shabbaton Choir of London. In these most difficult of times, we are unable to meet face to face. But we've come up with an idea to bring our music, our tefillot, our prayers to you in your homes. I've been privileged to have been associated with the Shabbaton Choir since its inception over 30 years ago. In 1988, I came to London to be the minister of this synagogue, and almost immediately I met up with a very talented young musician by the name of Stephen Glass. Well, he was young then. We decided to sit down, collaborate, and work together on new compositions, musical compositions for the synagogue. And to this day, Stephen's arrangements have been and remain a joy for us to sing. Depending on how many of these presentations we end up making, I'll talk a little more of the history and development of the Shabbaton Choir. But for the moment, let's focus on Kabbalat Shabbat, the service which prefaces the evening service on Friday night, and the music that Stephen Glass and I first wrote back in 1989. In 1991, Stephen Glass moved to Canada, and Stephen Levy took over as the choir's musical director. He's developed the musicality of the choir, and he's brought a huge volume of new music, much of it composed by himself, to the choir's Shabbat services and more widely within our concert repertoire. Over the years, I've been joined by a number of talented chazanim. In particular, Shimon Kramer of the Riverdale Jewish Center in New York. He now commutes there from his home in Modi'in in Israel. And most regularly, Chazan Johnny Turgel of the Stanmore and Cannons Park Synagogue in London, who has now been singing with me and with the choir for over 18 years, and he's still a young man. For my Siddur, I'm using the Authorized Daily Prayer Book, the Green Edition, with translation and commentary by Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. There is no better. Let me summarize what he says about Kabbalat Shabbat. He says that in northern Israel, in Tzfat, the Kabbalists in the late 16th century, on Friday evening, would dress in white and go out into the fields as the sun set, singing psalms and songs to the Shabbat bride. And that is the origin of the 6 extra psalms we say prior to the beautiful prayer of Lecha Dodi. So Kabbalat Shabbat begins with Psalm 95. L'chu neranan al Hashem naria litzu yish'enu. Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Now it seems that all over the Ashkenazi world, the singing of Kabbalat Shabbat begins in the same way. Let me demonstrate. L'chu neranan al Hashem naria litzu yish'enu. We are so inured to this melody that we no longer appreciate what the opening verse is saying. Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Now, what I just sang, does that sound as though we're singing for joy to the Lord? Stephen Glass and I wanted us to appreciate the powerful words of the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat by writing music that really brought out their meaning, while at the same time keeping the traditional nusach, that is, the underlying melody that defines Kabbalat Shabbat for Ashkenazim. That had to stay too. So this time, listen again to the opening words of Psalm 95, with which Kabbalat Shabbat begins. L'chu neranan al Hashem. Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord, this time with our music. let's look at the last two verses of Psalm 95, which the prayer leader would say aloud in order to bring us on to the next psalm. The words are difficult. Arba'im shana akut bedor. For 40 years I strove with that generation. I've said they are a people whose hearts go astray, who have not understood my ways. So I swore in my anger, they shall not enter my place of rest. This is not very positive for the children of Israel. It describes Israel's punishment in the wilderness. And so the mood is conveyed in the music. So the second of the 6 psalms in Kabbalat Shabbat, Psalm 96, begins, Shiru Lashem Shir Chadash, sing to the Lord a new song. That could be the subtitle of the Shabbaton Choir, a new song. And the prayer leader would take up the last 2 verses of the psalm, Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz, let the heavens rejoice and the earth be glad. Yiram hayam, let the sea roar and all that is in it. Let the fields be jubilant and all they contain. It's a psalm of nature. Then the trees of the forest will sing for joy before the Lord, for he is coming to judge the earth. That idea of judgment. So we return to the Kabbalat Shabbat melodic theme. God is coming to judge the world with justice, the amim be'emunato, and the peoples with his faithfulness. Let's hear the music.
השמיים ותגל הארץ ירם הים ומלואו יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו אז ירננו כל
So in this selection of music for you, we're going to skip over Psalm 97 and go on to Psalm 98, which begins similarly to Psalm 96. Mizmor, Shiru Lashem Shir Chadash, sing a new song to the Lord. But now listen to Rabbi Jonathan Sachs' commentary on the psalm. The psalmist describes redemption in the vivid image of a royal arrival. The king, who is also judge and deliverer, is about to come. The trumpets sound a clarion to announce his entrance. A roar is heard, not just from the assembled people, but from the universe itself, the sea, the earth, rivers and mountains. All herald his coming with joy, for they know that when he sits in judgment, he will resolve all disputes with equity. So you're going to hear the trumpets and the sound of the shofar, the choir bringing Psalm 98 to a close with a fanfare of acclamation before returning to repeat the flowing theme of the Nusach of God coming to judge the world.
Yira
next psalm is Tzaditet 99, beginning, "The Lord reigns, let the peoples tremble. Hashem malach yeguzu amim." And it ends reminding us how God punishes his people for its misdeeds, yet forgives. Our voices rise, fall, and rise again as we exalt the forgiving God and bow at his holy mountain. Now, the music for this psalm was composed by my late father of blessed memory, Avram Rosenfeld, who served as Chazan in Finchley Synagogue, London, for over 30 years and then became the rabbi in Wellington, New Zealand. I owe all of my nusach and my understanding of my prayers to my father's Perush Milim, to the way he was able to interpret the words of the services. So we move on to Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, a song for the Sabbath day, which when we say it means that Shabbat has come in for us. The choir is going to sing one of the most well-known melodies for the last 4 verses of the psalm, composed by Louis Lewandowski. He was born in Poland in 1821. At the age of 13, as a result of his mother's death and the family's extreme poverty, Lewandowski moved to Berlin to be paid to sing in a synagogue choir. Later, thanks to a member of the musical Mendelssohn family, he was able to attend the Berlin Academy of Arts, where no Jews had ever been allowed to study. But it was when he attended a concert of the celebrated Chazan Hirsch Weintraub and was so impressed by his liturgical arrangements that he decided to refocus his efforts in synagogue composition. From the age of 23 until his death 50 years later, Lewandowski conducted and composed music for synagogues. Today his songs are known across the world, with his music in our shuls rearranged for an a cappella male voice choir. But even in communities without choirs, his melodies are so familiar that we all sing them, probably not knowing that the music was composed for a Reformed synagogue in Berlin with organ accompaniment. So let's listen to the Shabbaton Choir singing Tzadik Katamar Yifrach. The righteous will flourish like a palm tree, ending the psalm, Tzuri v'lo avlat bo. God is my rock, in whom there is no wrong. So that is some of our music from Kabbalat Shabbat. But we felt we could not end without some extracts from the Friday evening service, Maariv. So here is Mi Chamocha Ba'ilim Hashem, who is like you, Lord, among the mighty. This is a verse taken from the Song of Moses. The music was composed by Samuel Rosenbaum, a 20th century American cantor who also edited the Journal of Synagogue Music, published by the Cantors Assembly of America. And in 1973, his oratorio, entitled Yizkor, in memory of the 6 million, was nominated for an Emmy Award. The powerful music to this verse, when, after the exodus from Egypt, the Israelites crossed the sea to dry land, echoes the sounds of the modern state of Israel.
Moshe ובני ישראל לחנו שירו בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים השם באלים השם נדר בקודש נורא תהילות מעודך ראובנך בוקי הים לפני משה זה כלי ענו ויאמרו השם ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה השם את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה השם גאל ישראל.
The last bracha before the Friday night Amida ends Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha. Spread over us, God, your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Hashem hapores sukat shalom aleinu. Blessed are you, O God, who spreads a canopy of peace over all his people Israel and over Jerusalem. It's an intense call to God to envelop his people and Jerusalem in peace, with the music building to a high point as the glorious splendor of Jerusalem is revealed to us. I remember how my father sang this, and I brought his composition to Stephen Glass to arrange it for Chazan and choir. Apologies for the poorer quality of this old recording, but I hope it still conveys the meaning of the words.
Baruch atah Hashem haporeh
And finally, Yigdal. Yigdal Elokim Chai, great is the living God. This hymn, comprising the 13 principles of Jewish faith, ends the Friday night service in most congregations. Listen now to this wonderful composition, written some 160 years ago by Abraham Saki, who was choirmaster in Liverpool, in particular for 35 years at the magnificent Prince's Road Synagogue, until his death in 1893. In this recording from our repertoire, I'm joined by Chazan Shimon Kramer, as we end with the choir on a high. Baruch Adei Ad Shem Tehilato. Blessed forevermore is God's glorious name.
Yigdal Elokim Chai, v'yishtabach nimetzalei el metziyoto. Echad ve'en yachid yichudo nelav v'gam en sof lehayachduto. Ein eladem utaguf le'yein aguf lo'en aroch elav kedushato. Ino adon olam lechal nosar yored gelato umalechuto shefa lechuato netano el Anshei segulato v'tifato. Lo kame beYisrael keMoshe od navi onav v'amid et etemonav v'tov. Torah temet natan la'chayoel al yad neviyo nehemar beyato. Lo yachal yifakein ve'lo yamir dato le'yalavim le'zulato. Sofer ve'yodea tzetareinu ma'avir le'sof davar b'kadmato. Gomer leish chesed kemilfano noten lerasha ra kerishato. Yishlach lekeitzamim mashicheinu livnot mechakekes Yeshuato. Baruch Adonai Shem
So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed our brief extracts from some of the music of Friday night, and that we will have the pleasure of your company next time when we'll be delving into the music of the Shabbat morning services of Shachrit and Musaf. If you can't wait to find out more about the choir, please check out our website at shabbatonchoir.com. In the meantime, stay healthy, keep safe, and from all of us associated with the Shabbaton Choir of London, Shabbat Shalom.